For ancient humans, being alone did not simply mean feeling lonely. It meant every small danger became bigger than the body could handle. A single person walking through tall grass could not watch every direction, because danger in the ancient world rarely announced itself first. One pair of eyes might miss the movement in the bushes, but many eyes could notice a shadow before it became an attack. This is why ancient humans depended on the group like a living warning system, where each person protected the others without needing words. While one person gathered roots near the ground, another could scan the trees, and another could listen for sudden silence in the forest. That silence mattered, because when birds stopped calling or insects went quiet, ancient humans knew something nearby had changed. Alone, you might doubt that signal and keep walking, but inside a group, one worried face could make everyone pause. That pause could save lives, because in the wild, survival often belonged to whoever noticed danger a few seconds earlier. Predators were not the only threat, because a twisted ankle, a deep cut, or a sudden fever could become deadly without help. If one person fell during a hunt, the group could carry them, protect them, or share food until they recovered. But if that same person fell while alone, the distance back to camp could become longer than their remaining strength. Ancient humans learned this lesson again and again, not from books, but from bodies that survived because others stayed close. Even sleep was safer in a group, because one person could rest while another stayed awake near the fire. A fire could push darkness back, but it could not replace human ears listening beyond the circle of light. At night, ancient humans were surrounded by sounds they could not fully see, so the group became a shield against the unknown. Children survived better when many adults watched them, because one distracted parent could not protect a child from every risk. A child wandering near water, thorns, insects, or animals needed more than love. They needed many nearby hands. This shared protection made the group feel less like a choice and more like a shelter made of people. Food also pushed ancient humans toward each other, because finding enough to eat was never guaranteed for one person alone. Some days one hunter failed, one gatherer found nothing, and one family came back with empty hands. But in a group, another person might return with meat, fruit, shellfish, honey, or roots, and survival could be shared. This did not mean everyone was always generous, but it meant sharing could protect the whole camp from collapse. When food moved through the group, hunger became less deadly, and trust became part of survival itself. Ancient humans rarely lived alone because the world was too unpredictable for one body, one memory, and one pair of hands. The group was not just company. It was protection, warning, medicine, childcare, food security, and emotional strength in one living system. So when you imagine ancient humans sitting together around a fire, do not see weakness or dependence. See one of the oldest survival technologies in human history. People staying close because closeness kept them alive. But survival was not only about escaping danger, it was also about knowing what to do before danger even appeared. Ancient humans carried knowledge inside the group, because no single person could remember every plant, trail, season, animal, and warning sign. One elder might know which berries cause sickness, while another remembered where water remained after many dry weeks. A skilled hunter could read hoofprints in mud, while a careful gatherer could recognize edible roots hidden under ordinary leaves. Alone, one mistake could poison you, starve you, or lead you too far from camp before sunset. But inside a group, knowledge was corrected, repeated, and protected, so dangerous mistakes became less likely to happen. This is why learning was not separated from daily life. Children learned by watching adults move, listen, gather, cut, carry, and share. A child did not need a classroom to understand survival, because every fire, tool, footprint, and meal became a lesson. When someone made a stone blade, others watched the angle of the hand, the force of the strike, and the shape of the sharp edge. When someone followed tracks, others learned how broken grass, fresh dung, and disturbed dust could tell a silent story. This kind of knowledge could not survive well inside one isolated mind, because one death could erase years of experience. In a group, knowledge lived in many people at once, so wisdom could survive even when one person was gone. That made the camp more than a place to sleep. It became a living memory of everything the group had learned. Ancient humans also needed each other to make tools, because survival tools often required shared effort, shared materials, and shared skill. One person might shape a spear point, another might prepare the wooden shaft, and another might bind it tightly with plant fiber or sinew. Together, they could create tools that one tired person might struggle to finish alone before night came. The same was true for building shelters, repairing campfires, carrying meat, preparing hides, and protecting stored food from animals. A group could divide the work, so each person did not have to do everything badly, slowly, and alone. This division of labor gave ancient humans something powerful. time to become better at specific skills. Some became better trackers, some became better toolmakers, some became better storytellers, healers, gatherers, or watchers. The group became stronger because people were not identical. Each person carried a different piece of survival. Even weak members could matter, because sharp memory, careful attention, or social wisdom could save the group in ways strength could not. This is the hidden reason ancient humans rarely lived alone. Survival was too large to fit inside one person. The wild world demanded many eyes, many hands, many memories, and many skills working together across the same fragile day. To live alone was to carry every burden yourself, but to live together was to turn many small abilities into one stronger life. But living together did not only protect ancient humans from the outside world, it also changed what happened inside their minds. A person alone with fear had to carry that fear without comfort, but a group could turn panic into shared attention. When thunder rolled across the sky, or strange footsteps circled the camp, ancient humans did not face the unknown in silence. They looked at each other, copied each other's reactions, and used familiar faces to decide whether to run, hide, or stay calm. This mattered because fear is easier to survive when it is not trapped inside one body. Around the fire, voices helped organize danger into meaning, and stories turned frightening experiences into lessons the group could remember. If someone survived an animal attack, the story did not stay private. It became a warning carried by everyone. If someone found a safer crossing, a hidden cave, or a dangerous valley, that memory became part of the group's map. Ancient humans rarely lived alone, because stories, warnings, and emotions worked best when they moved from one person to another. The campfire was not only for warmth or cooking, it was also a place where human minds connected after a difficult day. People could sit close, repair tools, share food, watch children, and turn scattered experiences into common knowledge. This made the group emotionally important, because comfort itself was a survival tool in a world full of uncertainty. A frightened child could calm down when held by familiar hands, and an injured adult could endure pain because others stayed nearby. Even grief became easier to carry together, because losing someone alone could break a person's will to keep going. Inside the group, sadness could be seen, shared, and answered with food, silence, touch, or protection. Ancient humans may not have explained emotions with modern words, but they understood that people survived better when they were not abandoned. Social bonds also helped prevent dangerous conflict, because people who shared food, care, and stories became harder to treat as strangers. A person known by the group had relationships, obligations, memories, and value that made violence less useful than cooperation. This did not mean ancient groups were peaceful all the time, because jealousy, fear, and competition still existed. But living completely alone removed the social rules that helped humans manage anger, repair trust, and return to cooperation. In a group, someone could calm a dispute, remind others of shared history, or separate two people before conflict became deadly. These small acts of social control protected the camp, because internal violence could be as dangerous as predators outside. Ancient humans needed belonging because belonging created responsibility, and responsibility made people more likely to protect each other. A hunter returned not only because he wanted food, but because familiar faces waited near the fire. A gatherer shared not only because she was kind, but because tomorrow she might need help from the same hands. Over time, these repeated exchanges created trust, and trust allowed ancient humans to live with less constant suspicion. This is why loneliness was not just uncomfortable in the ancient world. It could slowly remove the emotional structure that kept people alive. For ancient humans, the group was a mind outside the mind, a memory outside the body, and a courage no single person could fully create alone. That shared courage became especially important when ancient humans had to make decisions no single person could safely make alone. Where should the camp move when the water dried? And which direction still held animals, shade, and edible plants? One person might guess, but a group could compare memories, signs, and experiences before choosing the next path. An elder remembered a valley from many seasons ago, while a younger tracker noticed fresh prints leading toward distant water. A mother might notice fewer birds near one area, while a hunter might recognize that large predators had recently passed through. Together, these small observations became a larger picture, and the group could make choices with less blindness. Ancient humans rarely lived alone because movement itself was dangerous, and every journey demanded shared judgment. Crossing open land meant exposure to heat, hunger, injury, and animals that watched from places humans could not see. A group could travel with children in the middle, stronger adults at the edges, and experienced walkers guiding the route. If someone carried too much, another person could help. If someone slowed down, the group could adjust before weakness became disaster. Alone, a wrong turn could become fatal, but together, One person's mistake could be corrected by another person's memory. Even choosing a campsite required group intelligence, because a good camp needed water, shelter, visibility, firewood, and safe distance from danger. One person might see dry ground, but another might notice nearby animal trails that made the place risky after dark. Someone else might test the wind, check the trees, or remember that insects gathered near standing water at night. The safest place was not always obvious, so ancient humans relied on many minds reading the same landscape. This kind of shared decision-making made the group feel like a moving survival machine, slowly solving problems across the land. Living together also helped ancient humans face other human groups, because strangers could be helpful, dangerous, or both. A lone person meeting strangers had little power, little protection, and almost no control over what happened next. But a group could approach carefully, show strength, exchange signals, and decide together whether to avoid, trade, or communicate. Sometimes contact with another group meant new tools, new mates, new stories, or knowledge about distant places. Other times, it meant competition over water, hunting grounds, shelter, or food during a hard season. Ancient humans needed their own group as a shield, because meeting outsiders alone could turn uncertainty into immediate danger. The group gave each person an identity that strangers could recognize. This person belongs somewhere, and others will notice if they disappear. That belonging changed how humans moved through the world, because being connected made each person harder to harm without consequence. It also helped groups form alliances, because trust between communities often began with people who were already trusted inside their own camp. Ancient humans were not only surviving nature, they were surviving a social world where cooperation and caution had to exist together. To live alone was to stand without witnesses, without backup, and without a shared name behind you. To live with others was to move through danger with memory, protection, identity, and the quiet power of being recognized. Even when danger was not immediate, ancient humans still needed the group, because daily survival was built from repeated cooperation. A shelter did not appear from one pair of hands. It needed branches, hides, stones, firewood, and people willing to work together. One person could build something small, but a group could create a camp that protected children, tools, food, and sleeping bodies. When rain came suddenly, many hands could cover embers, secure shelters, move supplies, and keep the youngest members warm. Alone, the same storm could turn one small problem into many problems at once, until exhaustion became more dangerous than the weather. Ancient humans understood that survival was rarely one dramatic moment. It was hundreds of small tasks done before disaster arrived. Someone had to watch the fire, someone had to repair tools, someone had to prepare food, and someone had to notice what changed outside camp. This rhythm made the group stronger, because work spread across many bodies instead of crushing one person completely. Even simple things like carrying water became safer together, because water sources could attract animals, insects, and other thirsty humans. A lone person bending near a river was vulnerable, but several people could collect water while others watched the banks. The same was true when processing meat, because fresh blood and smell could pull predators toward the camp. A group could butcher quickly, guard the edges, carry meat away, and share it before danger grew too close. Ancient humans rarely lived alone, because food was not finished when it was found. It still had to be protected, prepared, and distributed. Gathered plants also needed knowledge and labor, because roots had to be dug, shells cracked, fibers cleaned, and bitter foods made safer. Every meal carried hidden work, and every bit of hidden work became easier when people did it side by side. This cooperation created a quiet form of security, where each person knew the day's burden would not fall on them alone. The group also helped people recover from bad luck, because no ancient life moved smoothly from one success to the next. A broken tool, a failed hunt, a lost path, or a burned shelter could ruin one person, but not always ruin an entire group. When one person had nothing, another might have enough. When one person was tired, another might still have strength. This did not make life easy, but it made failure less final, and that difference mattered across thousands of dangerous days. Ancient humans learned that independence could look strong for a moment, but dependence on trusted people could keep you alive for years. The group became a safety net long before money, hospitals, police, schools, or written laws existed. It carried the sick, taught the young, guarded the weak, punished the reckless, and remembered what the dead had known. A person outside that network lost more than comfort. They lost access to the oldest human support system. This is why ancient humans rarely chose isolation unless forced by conflict, exile, injury, or desperate movement. Being alone might happen for a short time, but staying alone for too long meant losing protection piece by piece. The ancient world did not reward the person who needed no one. It rewarded the person who could be trusted by others. And in that world, trust was not a soft emotion. It was a survival resource as real as fire, water, and food. And yet, the deepest reason ancient humans rarely lived alone may be the reason we still feel today. Human beings were shaped by groups for so long that our bodies began treating connection as part of safety. A familiar voice, a shared meal, or someone sleeping nearby could tell the nervous system that danger was not immediate. This is why being excluded from the group was not a small punishment. It could feel like being pushed toward death. To lose the group meant losing watchers, helpers, teachers, healers, protectors, and the people who knew your name. Ancient humans understood this without needing science, because they saw what happened when someone became separated for too long. A person alone could grow weaker, more frightened, less informed, and more vulnerable with every passing day. But a person inside the group could borrow strength from others when their own strength began to fail. That is why belonging became one of the most powerful forces in human life. It helped ancient humans endure hunger, fear, injury, grief, storms, darkness, and the endless uncertainty of the wild. Over time, the group became the place where survival and identity were tied together. You were not only a body trying to stay alive, you were someone's child, parent, friend, hunter, gatherer, watcher, or storyteller. Those roles mattered because they gave people reasons to protect you and gave you reasons to protect them. This is the hidden difference between ancient humans and many modern people today. Modern life often teaches us to admire independence, distance, and doing everything by ourselves. But for most of human history, complete independence was not a dream. It was a danger sign. Ancient humans did not survive because each person was powerful alone, but because people became powerful together. They shared food before supermarkets, shared warnings before alarms, shared care before hospitals, and shared memory before books. Their world was dangerous, but their answer was not isolation. Their answer was connection built through daily trust. When they sat around the fire, they were not wasting time by staying close. They were building the invisible structure that kept the group alive through another night. Every laugh, warning, story, meal, touch, and quiet moment of attention made the group harder to break. This is why ancient humans rarely lived alone, not because they were weak, but because they understood reality clearly. One person could think, run, fight, and remember, but a group could do all of those things better. A lone human was fragile in the ancient world, but connected humans became one of the most adaptable forces on Earth. So when you feel the need to belong, it is not just emotion or habit. It is an ancient signal from a time when closeness meant warmth, food, warning, protection, and another chance to see the morning.